You know, Jesus, when he walked the earth, he was 100% man and 100% God. When you are studying the gospel, ensure that you pay attention to when Jesus lived as a man and to when he operated as God. At times, he spoke as 100% man, and there are other times he spoke as 100% God. They are all clear and cleverly spelled out in the gospel. For instance, the Bible talked about him being anointed. Does God need to be anointed? No. So the fact that he was anointed shows us that he was man. He was anointed because he was 100% man. He's a man that needs to be anointed. But when Satan tempted him and he spoke to Satan, "Head behind me, Satan, for thou shalt not tempt the Lord your God." He spoke as God, because it's only God that cannot be tempted. And later in the Gospels are actually the stories of God's visitation on Jesus as a man. He was baptized in Jordan, coming out of the waters, looking straight into the heavens. The Bible says he was praying, and then the heavens opened, and then there was a voice saying, "This is my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased." That is one of the accounts of God's visitation. On the Mount of Transfiguration was another visitation that God visited him there, where that same statement was reinforced and something was added to it. The voice spoke again, "This is my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased." And then he says, "Hear him." That is another record of God's visitation upon him as a man. After being tempted by Satan, and Satan left, the Bible says God by his holy angels also visited him to strengthen him. That is another record of God's visitation upon him as a man. All of these records are showing you that God visits men. He died on the cross, was buried, and in the grave, God visited him again. Resurrection, the spirit of him that raised Jesus. So these are records of God visiting him as a man. God mindful of him as a man. You know what it means to be mindful? It says God is mindful of him. This is not just him as a man alone, but this is them as men in him.